the comfort of your community and the comfort of the known that makes it really challenging to see what else is out there about yourself. So I like to throw myself into the unknown, into the uncomfortable. I need to be around some new people, be influenced by new people, do a different thing. Maybe some people would call that like running away, but I don't think so.
Welcome to the Blue Rose Podcast. I'm your host, Becca Blue Rose, a runner, storyteller, and believer in creating a life that feels like your own. Some weeks it's just you and me, and other weeks I'm joined by women who are chasing their own version of a bold, unapologetic life. Together we explore what it really means to take risks and trust your own path. Kyla is an ultra runner, storyteller, and full-time adventurer who splits her time between the trails and life on the road in her travel trailer. As a content producer for a trail running apparel brand, she blends creativity with endurance, all while chasing big goals like UTMB and building community wherever she goes. Please welcome Kyla to the show.
My name's Kyla. I'm an ultra runner. I work for a brand called Janji, which is a trail running apparel brand, and I'm their content producer and athlete manager. I have been currently living on the road for 10 months in my wacky travel trailer and traveling with my two miniature Australian Shepherds who are actually asleep right now, which is crazy.
Aw, how's traveling in a van? Where have you been going?
Okay, it's not a van. It's a travel trailer. Big difference, Becca.
Okay.
Okay. I did van life back in 2019 before, it was like cool. But now, I'm older and more bougie, so I have a camper instead. It's like a 22-foot travel trailer. I'm just kidding about the bougie part. It's like not that bougie. It's a camper. I've been having a blast. Extremely steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
When I decided that this was what I was going to do, it kind of like happened quicker than I thought. So I was like, oh, I found the camper I want. Oh, now I'm buying it. Oh, now I need to learn how to drive a camper and use a camper. I didn't know literally anything. Gray tank, black tank, it's very overwhelming. But after the learning curve, I've got it down now. I'm quite handy.
Okay.
And I'm having fun. Yeah.
What made you decide to move back into a travel trailer, not a camper?
Yeah, don't get it wrong. So I had been living in Bozeman, Montana for 5 years. That was right after my van life stint. So the van life stint, traveled the country, longer story, but landed in Bozeman because I became obsessed with trail running and I saw a lot of really badass runners there. And I was just so excited about the mountains there. And wanted to be like every badass person I saw in Bozeman. So moved there. And then, fast forward 5 years, I created an amazing life there, amazing community. And around the same time started the job at Janji. And so, just kind of all new things in that chapter of my life. I was 35 when I moved there and single and started a run club and made all these friends and started this new career. And then I don't know, I think this has happened in my life for better or for worse a few times, a few iterations of this where I get really, really into something, really stoked. I make it my entire being. And then I kind of reach a ceiling or I feel like I've stopped growing or things aren't that hard anymore. Or maybe not that good. I need chaos or something, or I need to be stimulated in a new way. And otherwise, I think routine really works for some people and maybe, but it's really tough for me. So I think a lot of those friends I had made when I first moved there, they started getting married and having babies, and that's not part of my life path. So the short of that is I was feeling unhappy and I hadn't felt that in a long time. And I was like, all right, well, I don't want to feel like this all the time. I want to lean into the things over the past couple of years that have made me happy. And that was being at trail races. There's a whole community of people that kind of work in the industry, run the races, and you get to see periodically. So I knew that was making me really happy. Um, and I wanted to find a man. So, yeah, the 2 goals were like lean into what's making me happy and like go search for a guy.
Yeah,
I
I love it.
I also had gone through a bad breakup and, he cheated on me, blah, 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 and so I was like, "I gotta get out of here." Yeah, that's the other part of the story. So, yeah, so I had already done a van, and when I did van life, I only had 1 mini Aussie. I'm talking a lot.
No,
You
I
told me
love it's what you're here for.
I had 1 mini Aussie at the time, and now I got 2 of them. I do that too. I'm kind of like, before I realize I'm unhappy, I'm like, "I think I need another dog. I think that's gonna fix everything." So I got another dog, and so I'm like, now I have 2 dogs. You can't really like 2 anyone doing van life with 2 dogs, like, you're actually insane. So, the camper is perfect. It's bigger. I can sort of, like, park it in a place, unhook it, have my truck. It's like it's a movable tiny house, basically. So,
That's awesome. 1, how did you get into ultra running? And then the second one is, how long do you let yourself be unhappy somewhere before you leave? You can order those and answer those in either way you prefer, but
yeah.
if I don't tell you them now, I will forget them.
I think I can, like, merge those 2 questions together. So, rewind, let's go to, like, the time before this one, like, the time from before van life, because that
Yeah,
was the same sort of thing happened. And the patterns in the I think everyone's got these cyclical patterns. I
yeah.
can't be the only one.
No, you don't. You're not.
It's just and maybe I keep going through the cycle, this would be like the yoga teacher and meditation teacher, like or like, therapies taught this to me too, like, I'm gonna just keep doing the same thing over and over until I learn the lesson. So it could be something like that, or it could just be who I am, I don't know. Okay, so rewind, I was in the yoga industry, and similar thing, like, I found yoga when I was 24, and, um yeah, it was a time where, I had done like the college party thing and then I was like, "Oh, I hit a rock bottom at 24. I don't want to be like starting cocaine and like going to private parties in LA. It's not good." So, after hitting a bottom there, I kind of like got sober and started doing all this work on myself and found this like really niche, totally wacky kind of yoga based in like meditation. And same thing, I got like obsessed with that and became my identity. I started a business around it. I had a like niche yoga apparel company. I opened 2 stores on
Cool.
the East Coast. And yeah, I taught this yoga and then I had like this clothing line and I had built this life around, this thing. And same sort of thing happened. I reached a ceiling. I tried getting a dog. Yeah. So the unhappiness part, I think there's like normal like ups and downs. And that's like especially as a woman, I'm like PMSing, I'm moody or whatever, and I'm like just in a bad mood or whatever, even crying for no reason. That's fine. That's normal.
Yeah.
But I think it's just when it becomes way more regular, and I'm feeling more unhappy. I'm having more unhappy days than I'm having happy days, and I think that's like the line. And like, how long does that go on? Yeah, I think a lot of people don't notice. That awareness is really hard. I think that's like where we need other
Yeah.
people's help. I've always like been in and out of like therapy or had really close friends who can kind of point out like, hey, like things seem like not okay, and I've been like that for a little while now. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I had reached this point where like, wow, I couldn't get myself out of this depression, and I think there was like nothing really wrong either. Like nothing happened. Yeah, I had got into a routine and I had stopped growing and that was also like kind of like a I I guess I did that for a while. It was like 10 years of that yoga era. But built, I think there's like something to building something that is really exciting for a human being and like being creative, and it's probably why raising kids is so rewarding. It's like I love doing really hard things and like growing something and creating something. So that's what I was doing, and then it kind of like grew up and I'm like, okay, well it doesn't really need me anymore. Now what am I going to do? Um so yeah, at that time I decided I would I thought I needed like more meaning and purpose in my life, and maybe I
Mhm.
did. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start a nonprofit and do more like service oriented yoga. So my plan was to live 1 month in 12 different cities for the year of 2019 and teach yoga in jails and rehabs, treatment facilities, like do all this outreach work, homeless. And so that's what I did. And along the way, along that year was like very transformational for me. Going into like a new place for a month was like really, really challenging. Teaching yoga in like homeless shelters as a like privileged white woman, I realized I hate this. I'm not helping. Oh my God, they just need food and water. That was basically, yeah, in the middle of the year, I was like, I, yeah, I hate yoga. I don't want to be teaching this. I finished what I set out to do, but yeah, I felt like I wasn't really, really helping and that it was more for me, it was like more, I think my deeper intentions were like, I wanted to help, but also I wanted to show people that I was helping. So, and that didn't feel great or authentic. So, yes. Okay. Back to the question, but
No.
along the way, okay, I was going into these places. Yeah. Yoga on side. I was like having this realization about that. I needed to meet people. Like you go into a place for a month, that is like way, like not enough time to meet people, but
Mhm.
also way too long to go without making friends, like, for a whole
Yes.
year, and so I had to, like, get after it, like, I'd get to, like, a new city, and I was going to run clubs. I had always been a runner, but, like, I ran in college, like, more road running and stuff. I, like, never did any trail running, and I'd go into these places, I'd, like, hustle, like, run clubs, yoga classes, I'd go, like, sit at a bar, talk to the person next to me, I would bring the dog out or actually just trying the time, bring the dog out to the park, talk to random people, but run clubs was huge, and I found a lot of the run clubs I just so happened to go to were, like, trail running groups, and so, yeah, just throughout the year, different people were like planting seeds about trail running and ultra running. I went to this one run club in Portland, Oregon, and I didn't know it, but the group leader was a professional runner for Columbia, and he was training for Western States, which is like the Olympics of trail running.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was a big deal, and he like I remember he told me like the whole story about Western States and how it was actually like a horse race, and, like, Cordy Ansel was riding this horse, and it went late. Anyway, I kept meeting people, and then I just started becoming obsessed, started, really curious. Okay, I'm gonna look at the YouTubes, and then I'm, like,
Yep.
watching Courtney Dauwalter, and then I'm just trying to find my first hydration vest and blah, 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 blah. So, and then the whole year, then I changed it was a whole, like, outreach service tour, yoga tour I was on, but I changed it all around. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing service work." I actually started volunteering instead of teaching yoga in the cities I went to, because I changed everything around. I was like, well, I'm not going to Miami. I'm not going to Chicago. I'm adding in, and then I added in all these mountain towns. So I went to like Flagstaff, I went to Bozeman, Taos, went to all these like cool running destinations. And that's how I ended up in Bozeman and got into ultra running.
Okay. That is awesome. That is, like, the best story I've ever heard because, like, I just wanna know, like, okay,
Well, how did you get into ultra running?
how did I get into ultra running? Such a good question. Honestly, I just, like I feel like I was just one of those people that, like, yeah, I've, like, always liked running, but I've never been I never considered myself a runner. Like, I would run for sports in, like, high school and college, and I'd run for, like, as we all do, because we think it's gonna make us smaller for a period of
Yeah.
time, and so I, like, ran for that purpose, and then I was living at my brother's house. I, like, had just gotten home from traveling for 2 years, and I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing," and so I needed a goal, and so I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna train for a marathon because I need something to do,"
Yeah.
and so, honestly, I lived in American Fork at the time, which is, like, south in Utah, and, like, I would just run, like there's, like, this 2-mile loop around our house, and that's all I ran to train on, like, I didn't know that trail running was, like, a
Oh,
thing.
maybe you need to do like some of these backyard ultras.
I don't know, it wasn't exactly fun, like, I don't know how much I enjoyed it, it just, like, was I don't know, it just kept me motivated, and so then I
Yeah.
ran my first marathon, and then, like, a few months later, I ran another marathon, like, just hopped into the Moab marathon, and it was like, yeah, like, that was fun. Had never done a trail race, didn't know I was supposed to eat, like, was abs it
Oh,
took me, like, 7 hours to do this marathon,
yeah, and you're like,
bec
what the heck is this?"
yeah, I was like, "This is really hard." And then, I don't know, I was sitting on a chairlift with this guy, and he was like, "Have you heard of speed go?" And I was like, "No." But I just went home and signed up for it, and
Oh, heck yeah.
I knew nothing about it. I was like, I
That's the best way to do things.
had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Honestly, if we I really think this is, like, that's just so smart. Anyone that's listening that, like, wants to do a thing, just don't learn too much about it. If you learn too much
Yes.
about it, you're probably not gonna do it. Just jump right in. I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I'm gonna travel in a camper." Like, if I had done all the research, I don't think I would have ever left. So,
and I
that's
think
good.
that's what I'm realizing is that, like, I if I know too much, I'm like, "No, I'm good." But, like
You're gonna
and
learn
I
as you
think
go.
and I think that's why I didn't enjoy Speedgoat as much this year because I had done it before, and I was like, I like not knowing the course. I like just, like, kinda figuring it out as I go. And so that's how I got into ultra running, and then, yeah, like, after my 50K, I was like, "Nah, I'm done," and then you know how it goes, and I'm like, "What 50 miler could I do?" Um,
Yes,
and so that's just the progression.
and it sounds like Kodiak is gonna be your first 100.
Sounds like it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That
it's one of those things that, like, there's no good time to train for a 100 miler, like
Well, I mean, it's at the end of the season, you have all summer to have, like, all these adventure runs. You could throw in a
well,
50-miler earlier.
and that's the thing is I was actually, like what I'm thinking about right now is, like, I'm like, "Okay, well, if I'm doing a 100 miler, like, I can train a lot." So I'm like, "What adventures am I gonna plan for myself?" And speaking of
Yes.
Western States, I had a girl on my podcast, and she was like that she volunteers at Western States every year, and she's like, I've never really been to Tahoe, so I think I'm gonna make a little training
Oh,
trip
you
out
need to
of going to
you
Western
should.
States."
You definitely should. I will
Yeah.
likely, most definitely actually be there.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's super inspiring. I always find that I'm, like, training way faster after Western States and taking it way more seriously.
I watched the entire entire live stream. Like,
Yeah.
I was in
Yep.
the car driving, and I was just listening, and it's funny because the live stream is like, nothing is really happening, but I don't care.
Yeah, you're
I was
chatting.
like,
Yeah, you're
"I'm
like, "I
so
wanna be
invested."
there."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, that's awesome. Okay, but my question there was, there's, like, that period of time where you're like, "I'm stoked about this, and this is a really good idea," and you kinda,
Yeah.
like, have a window where it's like, I either have to jump on it or, like, it's not gonna happen, and I'm just curious about that because it seems like when you make those decisions, it's like a huge life change.
Yeah, it's so true, Becca. And like I've reflected on this too. I've had a few women reach out, and they're like usually younger women who want to chat with me about my career and like how I'm living my life and how they can make it happen in theirs. And so, because I'm like, I don't really know. I just kind of do things, I guess. So I think what it comes down to is like, um, well, it's like lots of things. One is I grew up in a really like entrepreneurial home. Like both my parents owned their own businesses and they didn't really live traditional lives at all. So didn't really put pressure on us kids. I grew up with five brothers and sisters. There's lots of us running around and I think it was more like artists and musicians and like, there wasn't the structured like you need to go to college and then work the 9 to 5. Like we didn't have that as a model at all.
Mhm.
And I think that generation too, I'm 40, so I think growing up, the millennials got the message like, "You just dream big, you can do whatever you want to." And like, I think actually that messaging has changed for the Gen Zers. It's kind of like, "No, you don't dream big, like, you're gonna end up with no money. Work
Yeah.
hard, save your money, be smart." And so I think it's a results of like the generation and then the result of like my values because of that. Like I value my freedom probably way more than the average person. Like I would rather take a huge risk, spend all my money, invest in this business, a business that nobody believes in because I want to do it. I want to do it. You
Mhm.
know, I, I believe in it. I want to start this yoga apparel business and I don't care I don't like think too much about, am I going to do this forever? Which is not for everyone. It's like some people really value security and like making sure that they have a, 10-year plan. And I don't.
Mhm.
I'm always like, my friends, my mantra is kind of like, money's not real and we're all going to die. So I think, yeah, I think every time, I also have like, literally, I don't think I've spent like one day of my life doing a job that I'm not also passionate about. Like for me, that's really, really important. And a lot of people really like to separate it. Like this is the way they make money so that they can go have a awesome time. And they're probably making more of it than I am. But I'm kind of like, I'm spending so much of my day doing that thing. Like I want to make sure I love that thing. So I think I don't mind taking risks. Yeah, my risk tolerance is probably a lot higher than other people.
But it's a muscle that you have to work, right? Like, I mean, if you've been doing it forever, then it's like, well, it's just second nature. Whereas, like, someone that's learning how to take risk, they're like, well, I've never
Yeah.
done it before, so it seems a lot scarier than it is.
I also think, like, a lot of women wanna have families, and I, thought about that in my 30s, really never prioritized it, and then I would say, like, as I got into my late 30s, I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Like, I almost had a panic like a crazy midlife crisis when I got my puppy because the dog took so much of my freedom. I'm like, I cannot be a mom. I just, I like value these other things in my life way too much. I have like many women friends that are amazing moms. That's just not my path. And I think that's changed a lot of my decision making too, knowing that, yeah, I can like hit the road in a camper and, work remotely and move all over and having a home base and yeah, that's just not like super
Mhm.
important to me. So, yeah.
Do you feel more confident in those decisions now that you're like a little older? Because I know
Yeah, oh
that it
yeah,
can be
yeah,
really
yeah.
hard. I know like I'm 26, and so,
Yeah.
like, I'm definitely in that phase where, like, a lot of people are, like, starting to get married, starting to have kids, like, it's a conversation, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't have answers for those things yet, but it's interesting just seeing the different life like, paths that everyone decide to take, and
Yeah.
it's it's hard to feel confident sometimes in your own intuition and your own decision making when everyone else is doing something different.
Especially as a woman, I
Yeah.
think men can change their minds later if they want to. But yeah, you have to decide as a woman and kind of like make those conscious choices to set up your life in a certain way. And it definitely has gotten easier as I've just gotten to know myself better. Like in your 20s, you're still figuring things out and like figuring out who you are. I mean, like I think I was still doing that. I think you really do that your whole life, but because we're human and we change and experiences shape us. So especially when I felt that unhappiness, like the second time, like the second round of it, I'm like, and okay, so when I started to feel that unhappiness, like during my yoga era, before I hit the road to live 1 month in 12 cities, yeah, I remember, like, just crying in the shower all the time and, like, being stressed out over things that shouldn't stress me out, and it's, like, a general level of depression. Then I hit the road, which had its own challenges, like, being on the road is really, really hard. Anyone that's on the road knows it is hard. It doesn't make you unhappy, it's just hard. It's stressful, but it's, like, a different feeling than feeling depressed or unhappy.
Mhm.
You're, like, too stimulated to be unhappy because 'cause you're on the road, but it's hard. So then I went through a year of that, and then when I landed in Bozeman, those, like, were the best years of my life. Like, I had recreated myself, I had found trail running, I'd found a new career. It was oh my gosh, like, I had so much fun and made so many amazing friends, and I was really, really, really happy. Then, like, that changed over, like, 5 years, and I started feeling unhappy again. And that second time, or maybe it even had happened a few times other like, in my life, in my early teens, but those are the 2 significant ones. But when I felt the unhappiness again, I was like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been here before." Like, and I can change it. I can, like, lean in to what's making me happy. I can hit the road again. I can do some self-reflection. Like, that whole year in the road in 2019, it was like, I really like, it was like peeling away levels of my identity that I thought were going to be permanent. And I'm like, wait, is that who I am? Is that what
Mhm.
I like? Is that who I want to be hanging out with? No. And so I feel like I'm doing that again. Like I'm on the road again, and I'm having like I'm so happy. I'm like having the most amazing time on the road, and I'm feeling like maybe I'm not making as drastic of changes. I'm not like quitting my job or anything like that, and I'm not going to get a third dog. Actually, I have been talking about getting a third dog. What am I talking about? But I feel like yeah, I'm going deeper into who I am, and I'm having like a blast doing it.
How do you feel like being on the road versus being settled helps you figure that out a little bit more?
That's a really good question. I think for me, there's a pulling away of the routine, and the comfort of your community and the comfort of the known that makes it really challenging to see what else is out there about yourself. So I like to throw myself into the unknown, into the uncomfortable. Like being on the road is not comfortable. It's like pretty hard. It's amazing and you go to these cool places or whatever you could do. There's a sense of freedom about it, but it is hard. Like there's a hardness about it and an unknown that I think brings up it brings up things for me like, yeah, I need to be around some new people, be influenced by new people, do a different thing, and that's not for everyone. Maybe some people would call that like running away, but I don't think so because then I'm grounded again, and um,
Well, and something that I've been thinking about, like, for my personality is, like, I'm just thinking of what you said about, like, maybe that's just, like, a part of who I am and, like, that you need, like, change every once in a while. Like, I do think there's something to be said about I've been thinking about rest recently, and there's, like, the whole quote about, like, if you don't feel the need to rest, like, don't. If you feel the need to move, like, right, like, if you have momentum, don't stop it kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't know the actual quote around that, but
yeah,
I've been thinking about that a lot recently because I'm not so good at, like, resting sometimes. I want to go and do and create and, like, experience, and so it's like, I feel like I can handle a lot more, like, I don't need as much rest sometimes, but then there are some times where I'm like, "No, like, all I need today is just, like, rest," and I think that sometimes I feel like I'm not, like, resting enough or, like, giving myself enough time or all these things that, like, I think I'm just getting from, like, outside perspectives, and then it's like, but no, like, what if that's just, like, who I am? And I kind of, like it's like a flame, and you kinda gotta, like,
right.
let the flame burn a little bit, and then when it dies down, you gotta give it some rest, and, like, that could just be part of who you are, even if it is, like, a cyclical pattern, maybe that's just, like, what works
And
for you.
yeah, I mean, like in my 20s and 30s when I started doing work on myself, like you can get in your head and like psychoanalyze everything, and I'm like, well, sheesh, like if this is my trauma and I'm running away and I'm doing this like pattern of like building my life up and then shutting it all down and hitting the road. Like, well, I'm comfortable with that. That's fine. I accept that craziness and love
Yeah.
it about myself. And yeah, I think I know it's like the way I'm living my life is not, not for everybody.
Mhm.
And, I have like friends that are living completely different lives and I totally respect that and believe that that's making them happy. I don't think like there's one path to comfort and happiness and fulfillment. So, but I'm really loving my life.
So you had people that you're like, "Okay," they reach out to me and they're like, "How do you do this?" I mean, I guess did you ever have influences that you were like, "That's what I wanna model my life after," or has this just been completely, like, intuition based of like, "I'm gonna do that?"
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, like both my parents were like, I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah, I
say
get it.
entrepreneurs, but like small business owners, really.
Mhm,
My father, yeah, he had a construction business, and my mom, we grew up like on a horse farm, which was also like part of the family business. Showed horses. My mom had a horse catalog, so I think that model was like, they were both making money off of the things that they love to do,
mhm.
and so that's always what I've done, and I've got the messages growing up that you can always make it work, and, I think I always, like, kind of hesitate a little bit to say, like, "You can do whatever you wanna do." I realize, like, I'm a white woman living in in the United States, and like I grew up middle class, so there's a certain amount of privilege. But that said, in that container, like I do think if you really want to do something, it's usually fear holding you back from doing it. So I've kind of just been like, okay, I'm gonna go do what I want. I'm gonna make this
Yeah.
happen. But yeah, the questions I get on Instagram are like the outdoor industry is also just really hard to get into, I think.
Mhm.
And a lot of people would love to work in the industry. And I thought about how I got the job at John G. And like there is a little bit of right time, right place. And I think I applied for that. Actually, it was like it's John G's my first like job. I always was making my own money as a small business owner right out of college. And I did that for 10 years. And so when I had a call with the founder, they were looking for someone just like me. And that I think there was some luck to that. Someone who had I had traveled around the country and I went to all these run clubs. I had all these connections and also someone who can wear a lot of hats. Like my experience came from small business. I know like a little bit about a ton of things. And then I also think they were looking for someone who had like low boundaries and works really hard. So
Well, there you go.
yeah,
I mean,
just
I
like
do
be
think there's
willing to work really hard and be passionate, and like,
yeah.
and I think if you're passionate about something, just like be persistent and keep trying to like get into that space. I mean, like I was so obsessed with trail and ultra running that yeah, I had started a run club in Bozeman when I got there. And I think that also was like an asset. It's like the founder of Janji saw that I really love this sport. They were trying to get into trail running, that I had some skills in community building, that I was a hard worker and hustler. Like I had started my own business out of nothing, like no money.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I think there's a hustle nature behind um yeah, I don't know how you'd like teach that to somebody though. Like you just got to really want it and not be scared.
You weren't scared at all?
Oh no, 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 I was terrified. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah. But you like
Scared,
do it
but do it anyway.
anyway. You do
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
anyway. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like usually a terrified person, scared to do everything.
How do you rebuild your life, I guess? Like, you're coming to a new place. How do you build community? How do you make those connections? How do you get started? Because for some people, like, that's really scary. Like, going to a
Yeah.
new
Oh
place and
yeah.
being like, "Okay, but, like, how the heck do I actually make friends?" And making friends is kind of hard.
So hard. So hard. I love this question, Becca. And when I was on the road 2019, I went to all these run clubs and it was terrifying. Like going to a run club, I don't know a single person. I don't know if they're going to be faster than me, but blah, 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 like every story that you can make up. And if I wasn't there for only a month, there's no way I'd be going. It would take me like 6 months to get myself to that run club. You know what I mean? But I'm like,
Mhm.
shoot, I only have a month and I'm going to die if I don't make friends. Like I'm so freaking lonely. So that's what would make me go was that like I was actually cornered into going. And then when I finally went, actually, you had mentioned this. You had said something like, it's a strength, it's a muscle, kind of. Like going
Mhm.
out, getting to these run clubs, putting myself out there. I got better at it. It became less hard the more I did it throughout the year. So by the end of the year, it was like nothing. I'm like, phew, another run club, whatever. Not even scared. But I do think you have to keep using that muscle. It can go away. Maybe that's another reason why I'm hitting the road. I got a little weak, so I need to strengthen those muscles again. But I became really passionate about like not all run clubs were created equal. Some of them were not inclusive. Some of them, everyone's shy. Like everyone, like I'd go to ones that were like clicky or no one said hello to me. And so when I got to Bozeman, one, I really don't believe in starting community for the sake of starting community. Like I don't think you should start a community because you think you can do it better. I think you need to like see what's there already. Like and see if you can add to it. Like, just a lot of times people think, I mean, I've done it. They have this like really unique idea. And sorry, like, if it's not being done already, there's probably a reason for it. Or it is being done already and you should bring your energy to it. Like help it, grow it. Like community stuff is like we should all try and be together as much as possible. And so when I got to Bozeman, one, I was like desperate for long-term community. I had gotten really good at meeting people. And I wanted to see there was something that drew me there too. I had gone to they had one run club in Bozeman when I got there. It was a Tuesday night track group. And I love everyone that goes, and it's not that they weren't friendly, they were just so fast, I never got to talk to them. So, it was, like, the most badass people. I'm like, "What are these people eating in Montana? They're so fast, I'm so far in last place." But there was something I think that drew me that I was like, "Oh, they need someone to bring, like, all the rejects to this run club." So, I stayed in Bozeman. The first year was, like, just going to that Tuesday night track, trying to get faster, trying to talk to those people, and then volunteering for races. I got involved at the local run shop. Like I just cold emailed the owner. Like I was still doing my online yoga business, but I at that time like hated yoga. So I was like not passionate about it. I was like half assing my own job, my own business. And I was like, I'll work at the running store. Like, do you have any shifts? I'll pick up, I'll come volunteer. You don't even need to pay me. I just want to be part of it. And so it started happening like that. And then I was like randomly asking people I'd meet at the Tuesday night track group to run outside of it, even if they didn't seem like my kind of people. The like, I think there's an openness to when you get on the road and you don't know anyone to hang out with people that aren't quite like you, which is um, character building. And so I was running with people that I normally wouldn't run with at the beginning. And I'm getting all these phone numbers. And then, yeah, over the course of that year was kind of learning about the trail running landscape in Bozeman. Why isn't there a trail running group? Like what would it take to start one? And like, could I get support from the local run shop? Like things like that. And then I think, we basically started the reason there wasn't a trail running group is because it was hard work. Yeah. I mean, they're really kind of, the locals in Bozeman are like, the trails are like precious to them. And
Mhm.
so, with the growth, I think this is probably true in a lot of mountain towns with the growth of like COVID workers, like remote workers coming into town and people being more mobile now and these towns blowing up. You have the locals being like, what the hell, all these people on the trails? And I'm kind of like, you're right, but there's no way we're stopping the growth. And it would be better to let's teach the people that are coming from the city. They have no idea how to run on a trail, like how to do it safely, at least. So I had
Yeah.
like, to kind of convince the community this would be good for the community. I had to make friends with the Forest Service
Mhm.
and then show up every single week and start connecting people.
Mhm.
So that was like my passion project for like 5 years.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so then where did the UTMB dream come from? Because we
Yes.
can't not talk about
I
that.
know. It's like really exciting. I started, let's see. I guess I like started working with coach Scott Trayer. I'm at his house right now, house sitting. Started working with him. This is our second year, like our second season. And yeah, it's really like he kind of keeps me on track on having goals and like, why am I running? And what he's there to help me reach my goals. And I think like I DNF'd my first 100, just that happens sometimes. I DNF'd my first 100 at mile 96, and then I went through a couple coaches, get me through the next year. I finished a couple more, but like didn't do that great at them. And
Mhm.
then Scott really helped me dial things in. Not that I'm like super, super fast, but I'm like way faster than I was. So it's like really exciting. And yeah, I remember like trying to figure out the UTMB is so confusing. And then I was on their website trying to figure out mainly for work too, because I'd like to um help John G kind of do an activation there someday, but I need to like go first. Um, so I was trying to figure stuff out and then I was like, oh, I figured out the world majors. Okay. And then, oh, the wonderful thing about turning 40 is like, it's like an easier age group. I'm like, oh, wait a second. So you could be top 10. And then there's also some spots for like age group and there's like no overlap. So I remember like last summer I was at a wedding, my friend's wedding, and I was trying to convince all of them, like, you guys, like, we all have a really good chance. Like, like, I was trying to convince them all to come out and do the Kodiak race. I did get a couple people to come out. My friend Mallory ran it. She got 10th. So we both made it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, super fun. So yeah, I think um yeah, was cool. And some other things got in the way. I then was decided to do Cocodona at the beginning of the year. And that went really, really bad. And so then I was kind of like, oh gosh, like that my confidence was like tanked. I was like, no way I'm getting into UTMB. I can't even like I just walked for a week and hurt myself. But Anyway, now I'm rambling. So, yes, Becca, I think you should do Kodiak next year.
Okay, I'm here for it. Well, I have a little like speaking of like dreams, because like I'm trying to build community around trail running since I'm still like fairly new to it. And
Yeah,
like I had this idea a bit ago to do like a podcast road trip because I whenever I see like Corinne Malcolm and Debo, is that his name?
yeah,
Like,
Dylan
they
Bowman.
are always, like, commentating. I'm like, "How did you get there?" And, like, "How do I do that?" Even if
Yeah,
whatever it is, I'm like, I like, kinda like you, I'm like, I'll be your, like, mic person. Like, I just wanna, like, hand you the mic, like, whatever I
you
have
need
to
to reach
do.
out. You need to reach out to
Well,
them.
Corinne has been on the podcast before, so
Oh,
I have talked to her before,
okay.
but
Well, then
it was
start. Just
more of
be very annoying. Just keep chatting her up.
she's like, "How do I do this?" What are you doing in the winter?
My boyfriend lives in Leadville. It's very cold there.
So
It's
you met
very.
a
It's.
guy.
I did meet a guy. I wouldn't even
You
cover
reached
that. I know. So, just hit the road. I just set an intention. I was like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna like make myself happy, go to all these trail running things, meet a guy. Check, check. So
That is awesome that you just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go make that happen," and I made it
I know.
happen, and
I know, I
and
know.
I do think there's something about that, like, intention of, like, the manifesting behind that of, like I think a lot of people think that manifesting is, like, "I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna think about it," but it is really, like, you
It's goal
think
setting.
you yeah, like, you
It's
set
goal
the
setting.
intention and then you, like,
Yeah.
go do something about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta like set a goal. I was set a goal. I was gonna meet a guy. So I like pretty much dated every guy in Bozeman. I've like tried them all out. None of them worked for me. So I was like, gotta go somewhere else where there's more men. So I was like, I gotta go to a city. Like honestly, it was like, there's a whole dating strategy. I'm like, I gotta find a guy. So, I'm in Phoenix. I'm on the dating apps or whatever, trying to meet people through like, you know, running events or whatever. Whatever. Everyone in Phoenix, all the men here golf. So that was a no. So I went down to Tucson and I actually met Jacob on the apps. He was there. He doesn't live there. He lives in Leadville, like I said, but he was on sabbatical. And then we matched, and then he looked me up on Ultra Sign Up. First thing he did, I we had run a race against each other like 3 years ago, and I beat him. So points for me.
Well, there you go. I love that. It's a built-in training partner.
I basically, yeah. We went on like 5 dates, and then I was like, do you want to come pace and crew me for Cocodona? So that's he did, and I felt like, if he's still with me after that, then
Well,
we're in good shape.
it really brings you together,
We went
doing
on a
hard things.
14-hour date at the end of
Yeah.
Cocodona.
Well,
So
I know we're almost at time, but I do wanna ask you, what draws you to 100 milers? Or, like, Kokedana, is that 100 or is that 200?
it's 250, Becca. You got to
Yeah,
look it up
okay,
after this. It's no, I'm not doing that again. That was so dumb.
okay,
Um,
sounds good.
I think it's kind of like drugs, you're gonna experience this. You already have. You're like, oh,
I
I
already
did a
have.
marathon, then I did a trail marathon, then I did a 50K, then I did a 50 mile. And so like that kind of happens. You need more to get the same effect. And every time I move up in distance, I'm like, okay, that other thing I was doing was fun. That was not fun. I'm never doing that again. So like I did, I got into like I did a 50 mile. My first 100 mile was like, oh fuck that. Like 50 miles, that was fun. 100 miles, not fun. But then, like, you make yourself do it a few more times. Who knows why? And then it becomes kind of fun. And then I tried this 250 thing. I'm like, that was not fun. 100 milers, fun. 250, not fun. So maybe in a couple years we'll chat again, and you can be like, yeah, I'll be like 250 is so fun. Who knows?
Well,
But
maybe, who
yeah,
knows, I'll do my first 100 and I'll be like, "You know what, that was so fun." My first 50?
I don't think
Not
you're gonna say
fun.
that. I don't think you're gonna say your first hundred's fun, but if you do, text me. I would like to know about it.
I will, definitely. I think the funnest part about racing, though, is actually just your crew.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and you just get
Yeah,
more of that in 100. You get to do it for longer. There's
yeah,
more time to problems. Things will go wrong, and then like problem solving, I find like really fun.
yeah,
And it's nice to have pacers out there and go through the night. It's a
yeah,
bigger. The hundreds are just like a bigger adventure.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
something I like to end every podcast with is What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received? Or if you could give yourself a piece of advice, your younger self, what would it be?
Yeah, don't date guys with long hair.
Okay.
That's my piece of advice. They're bad news. Bad news, ladies. Don't do it.
Sounds good. I love it. Thanks for listening to the Blue Rose podcast. If you love this episode, please hit follow, leave a review, or send it to a friend who's building their own bold life. Keep trusting yourself, and I'll see you next week.